Hello, all. Hope all of you are continuing to stay safe and all is just and fair in your respective lives and worlds. So, I have a bit of a fun video today, just a breezy little midweek video. So, about a couple of days ago, over the weekend, something a bit out of the blue happened. So, let me get into a bit of detail. So, as a few of you may know, one of my dream bikes happens to be the Africa Twin. In fact, I'll go so far as to say that this will be my ultimate dream bike. I will probably never ever aspire for anything higher than this bike. So even if I hypothetically won a lottery for let's say 100 crores, I would still probably never buy something like the Goldwing or the Harley Ultra Glide CVO or the GSA 1250 Adventure or anything like this. So that's how much I love the Africa Twin, and that's where my aspiration or dream pretty much stops. Now, and quite a few of my friends actually know this, right? And even when I decided to buy the recently acquired Versys, I have always thought that Versys will be used for some time, and ultimately whenever time and situation permits, I will try and look at an Africa Twin. Now, one of my friends, actually very good friends, owns the Africa Twin. He owns a 2019 model, and he actually has it in the favorite color theme for the Africa Twin, which I love. So everybody usually has the red color, but I like the HRC color, the Honda Racing colors, a color theme, which is the white, blue and red combination. So this friend of mine, he is almost he's more senior than me in age and experience and in motorcycling. He literally looks after this bike like a member of his family, literally like one of his kids. So he fusses over it, he makes sure that he gets it detailed, with all the cover, with everything, he maintains it in an impeccable and an immaculate condition. So that's how seriously he takes this. And as fate would have it, he has actually decided to sell the bike, and because he knows how much I love this bike and how much I love his bike in particular, he approached me and said, look, I've decided to sell my bike, and here is all the details and here is the price I'm expecting. I will not go into much of the numbers or anything, but it was a very, very decent price. My mouth watered. Okay, so pretty decent mileage for an Africa Twin. Had run around 17,000 something, which is okay, which is very decent for an Africa Twin, and all of that. So I agonized over this decision for pretty much this Sunday, this Saturday before, and even Friday. I agonized over this decision. I called my wife, I showed her the bike on video, and told her that this is my ultimate dream. We had a conversation, and all of that. I went through the whole process, and finally where I am right now, I will not be purchasing this bike, right? So I have already given away the climax of the movie, so I'm not okay, but then again, I would like to walk you through the process which I went through, all the thought process, the feelings, the emotions, the sentiments, and I will finally like to conclude what was the decision and why that decision. So, and why am I doing this video, right? So I wanted to buy a bike which I like, and I didn't buy it. So why should I share all these thoughts with you, and why should you spend your time watching this video? The reason is, I am sure all of us who are motorcycle enthusiasts, we do come across this situation, right? For example, it could be somebody whose first dream was to own the Unicorn. He owns it, and he now wants to get his dream bike, maybe the CV350 or something. It could be at any level, so it could be at these 1 lakh to 2 lakh rupees level. It could be like in the case of me, around the mid segment to the top segment level. But these emotions and this drama and this anguish everybody goes through, So I would like to sort of recount my thoughts, my thought process, my decision process, so that if there is any takeaway from this video, I hope it is of some use to somebody who's in a similar situation. So that's the reason I'm making this. So when this decision came to me, what were some of my rationalizations and thoughts? I'll tell you why to buy this. It's all the thought process of the mind, right? So what did my mind do? What circus did my mind do? So my mind told me, come on, buy this, because you know it's not usually available in the market, which is true, which is actually true. So the Honda Africa Twin, usually because it comes in such small numbers and because it's really expensive, used bikes are usually very sought after, and the demand usually exceeds the supply. That is very true in the Honda circles, and usually if you track all your OLX or whichever marketplace, you will never find the Africa Twins for sale, and it's usually put in the biking groups, and as soon as it's put, within a day it is gone pretty much. So that was the first rationalization my mind came up with. Second one, you will see plenty of videos on YouTube where these bikers, they say that I got a chance to buy my dream bike and I couldn't pass it up, so somehow I arranged the funding from here and there and I had to make it happen, and I did this, I did that, under a lot of duress and stress, I finally managed to buy it. So I've seen a lot of these videos. So for example, if you look at the JS Films video, he goes through a similar process when he was trying to buy his Ninja H2 Carbon. So that is one. So I thought all these guys do it. Whenever they get their dream bike, the first response or reaction must be buy it and we will figure out the rest later. That was another rationalization my mind came up with. Third one, it is the dream bike. It is the dream. So my mind said, why should you gradually go upgrading bikes when you can directly hit the stars and just stay there? So that was another proposition my mind tried to sell me. Fourth one, my mind told me, you are anyway about 45, you don't have in relative terms you don't have as much biking life left in you as a 35-year-old does, or as a 25-year-old does. So if not now, when? And my mind also tried to tell me that money I have, age I don't, in relative terms again, touch wood. My mind tried to tell me that, look, you can always earn more money, but buy the bike. That was one. The next one was, my mind tried to tell me, see, Honda sells really quickly, so even if I sell later, and you don't lose much money on these kind of bikes in Hondas anyway, so resale value is really good. So my mind tried to tell me, even if you have to sell it later, you can sell it and you won't have to worry about losing much money. The next one, my mind tried to tell me, you can do some amazing off-roading on this bike, especially with the DCT module, which is the gearless direct dual clutch transmission module. So you don't have to change the gears in the Honda Africa Twin, for those who don't know. And then my mind tried to tell me, look, it's the Honda reliability and the cost of ownership, the cheap cost of ownership which you are getting. And then my mind tried to tell me, and the other thing was, this is not a mind thing, this is the truth. So this friend of mine, because he is so close, he actually told me, and genuinely from his heart, he was not trying to make a hard sale or try to be an aggressive seller or something. He genuinely told me that, look, if you want to buy my bike, you just let me know, and if you want to sell your Versys or something in the market, I am willing to wait for as long as it takes before that Versys sells and you get the balance of the money. So he was really genuinely from his heart, he told me that. So that was one other justification or rationalization which I was trying to grapple with. And finally, the most surprising part, so I had a conversation with my wife, and typical usual conversation. She first said, you just bought a bike, then you sold your 390, then you sold something, you bought something. I said, look, but this is the dream. There is nothing else for me after this. It just stops there. So finally, I don't know what she felt. She said, look, I think you should buy it. You should just buy it and just live with it. So everything, all the rationalizations, all the check boxes were all ticked. Everything was prime and good to go. But I didn't buy the bike. So why? So here are a few of the reality checks and a few of the conclusions. First, number one, it is an expensive bike. For even though the price was very decent in the overall scheme of things, it's expensive, right? It is expensive. and I don't have that kind of funds, to be honest. Yeah, although if I really try to mobilize the money, I can make it happen, but I don't have that much of cash ready and sitting. Secondly, I thought I just recently bought the Versus, which is the reality, and haven't even really ridden it much, being COVID times and everything. And where is the end to upgrades, really? I mean, there is no end to upgrades. It can keep on happening. Third point was Versus is definitely more than capable for what I want it for, which is basically having a good time on a breakfast ride on a Sunday and the occasional tour. So that's basically what I want. And Versus is more than capable to comfortably let me do these things. Fourth point, it is the Africa Twin at the end of the day is a huge bike. It is quite heavy. And even the current owner himself, he has on numerous occasions referred to it as the white elephant and all these sorts of things. And he himself is very intimidated by this, despite having owned this for a better part of 2 years so far. He says it's quite, it never lets you forget how big and heavy it is. That's the fact. Next one, fuel economy. Of course, it's not going to give me the fuel economy of the Versus 650, purely because bigger engine. Next one, the bike itself, the sheer presence of the bike and the color scheme, especially this HRC color scheme which is there, it's going to grab a lot of attention. And for the kind of usage that I am looking for, which is the Sunday rides and the occasional tours, and especially if I have to travel in smaller towns and the rural parts of wherever I have to be, it's going to grab a lot of attention. And even if I park it somewhere overnight or to grab a meal, or if I park it in a hotel to sleep and rest for the day, pretty soon, because of the sheer attention factor, the groping and molesting of the bike will start. And the next thing which I thought was, and this is more realistic actually, if I, for my off-roading aspirations, so I still aspire to be among nature. I want to go among the muddy and sandy parts and climb the top of a hill and sit on a rock and be among trees and greenery. So that aspiration is still very much there. I can always add an Xpulse to my stable of motorcycles, which actually is something which is on my mind. Probably by the end of the year I'll get more serious on that decision, because I'm waiting for the 200cc similar offering from Honda to sort of come through. They call it the NX200, as most of you may know, but I want to wait for a time when that is in the market, and then I'll decide whether I want the Xpulse or the NX200. And I obviously lack any sort of off-road experience, and it's always much cheaper to learn that off-road riding on a cheaper bike than a bike like the Africa Twin. I have so far, of course it's not a realistic comparison, it's not an apples to apples comparison, the next point, it's not an apples to apples, but I have seen people keeping their Versus 650s for a much longer time than typically what they have tended to keep their Africa Twins for. So there is something about that. And next is a bit of I would say a bit of a philosophical thought process. So somewhere I feel I should leave some dream open so that I have something to aspire towards. I don't want to tick all the boxes and then reach the top of the mountain and then wonder what do I do now. So there should always be some dream open. There should always be something else that you should be in a position to look forward to. And finally, there is a saying, they say that never meet your heroes, because what you have built them up to be in your head versus what they actually are, there might be a bit of a expectation gap. So leave your heroes as heroes unmet. So the Honda Africa Twin at the moment is somewhat of this thing. I want to let it be there, something for me to aspire for, and we shall see when the time is right, or even if it should happen, I don't know. Having said all this, I am not saying that I will never buy the Africa Twin. It's just that I will not do it now. In the future, you never know. As they say never. And with that, since I have taken this decision, I went ahead and forwarded this listing to a lot of other people who are interested to buy this, because I had not done it before, because I thought if I'm deciding to buy this, I don't want to send it to a lot of people, because then they will start contacting him and they will start the process of discussion. Although in all fairness, he has pretty much given me the first right of refusal, but I have finally closed the door by doing something irreversible, which is forwarding it to a lot of other people, and I'm sure quite a few people must have reached him already inquiring about the bike. And I hope somebody gets a very nice motorcycle, because it is a very nice motorcycle, and he gets the kind of money that he's actually looking for. So yeah, so I think this is a bit of a different video which I did. I hope somebody in my position finds some value and a few things to ponder on, because everybody, I think not everybody, most people go through this sort of a dilemma or a conundrum. So yeah, I think that was the reason I made this video. So I hope all of you had something to, it either brought a smile on your face or gave you a few things to think about. I don't know. But yeah, a small, I don't know if it's necessarily small, because I kept on rambling in the flow of things, but yeah, a breezy midweek video just to just to talk about this topic, because I found it so fascinating that somebody wants something and that thing is in front of him, but he takes a different direction. So this was the moral of the story. So continue to stay safe, look after your loved ones well, and good night, and we will speak again soon. Take care. Bye.